in the heart of suburban tranquility, nestled within rows of homogeneous houses, a peculiar rumor began to circulate among neighborhood children. A stranger was said to peer over fences, disappearing whenever adults would come to investigate. Several parents dismissed the tales as childish imagination, but a creeping sense of unease spread like a shadow across their manicured lawns. It wasn't long before the local newsletter mentioned the fence man, prompting whispers that skirted around the edges of coffee meetups and evening strolls. Curiosity would draw a team of investigators, a journalist, a paranormal analyst, and a sound engineer curious about the growing lore. And the anxious shivers it induced in the most rational of adults. The paranormal team arranged a meeting with Amy, the latest child to report seeing the fence man. She was a wide-eyed girl of about 8, clinging to her stuffed rabbit nervously. Her account was detailed, describing the man as tall with hollowed eyes and an unnerving stillness. Amy's story was dismissed by her parents as a vivid dream, yet her conviction hinted at something deeper, something profound enough to penetrate a child's world so utterly and leave lingering shadows in a house filled with light. The team took notes, Amy's descriptions painting a vivid mental picture, a picture that would, little by little, seep into their own understanding of reality. As they revisited the neighborhood, the team decided to stake out Amy's backyard one chilly autumn evening. With cameras strategically positioned and microphones recording every rustle, they waited. The cool air seeped into their bones, mingling with an increasing sense of anticipation. Hours passed, and nothing stirred, only the relentless tick of time reminding them of the ordinary heartbeat of life continuing around them. But as the night deepened, an unsettling stillness swept over the yard. It was as if a shroud had been pulled over the neighborhood, muting all sounds and leaving an oppressive silence. No one spoke, breaths were held, and each creak of the house became a spectator of their vigil. midnight, the sound of shuffling footsteps abruptly cut through the silence, snapping them to attention. The old fence groaned, and a shadowed head bobbed into view. Heartbeats quickened. The team tried to maintain composure as the video feed crackled to life, capturing the shadowy figure's vaguely humanoid shape peering over the fence. Its presence felt unspeakably wrong, a misfit in the suburban calm. It wasn't a man, but seemed conscious, as if it were studying them with an intensity that pierced through to the very core. They could feel the icy claw of fear gripping tight, challenging their courage to stay focused rather than flee. As the video evidence was reviewed, a sense of disbelief mingled with dread. The footage clearly showed something inexplicable, tethering the team to the cold reality of the impossible. Each frame was scrutinized countless times, revealing glimpses of eyes that never quite materialized or features that refused full disclosure. It was as if the fence man existed within two worlds, a border that blurred whenever viewed, a distortion of reality itself. The team felt compelled to dig deeper, their logical minds battling with an unwelcome fear that settled deep in their bones. Driven by a need to understand, the journalist began interviewing local residents, accumulating layers of whispers and fragmented tales. There were stories of forced evictions of people who never seemed to exist in official records, of sudden disappearances of neighborhood pets, and eerie claims of shadowy figures that left no tracks. Each tale was like a thin veil of mist, eluding a cohesive narrative, but hinting at a sinister common thread that ran deep through the community. As the investigator pieced these stories together, the complexity of their mystery unraveled, weaving a tapestry of despair and loss stretching back decades. The tension among the team grew palpable as they delved deeper. The paranormal analyst interpreted the scattered footage and audio tapes, noting disturbing subharmonic anomalies that hinted at frequencies altering perception. Distorted whispers and muffled cries interlaced within the recordings suggested an otherworldly interference. Each night, dreams became restless, filled with fragments of reality and warped reflections of the fence man's midnight vigil. Fatigue and paranoia threatened their cohesion as whispers of the unknown seeped into their thoughts during daylight hours. A particularly disturbing revelation came when the sound engineer discovered that each child who saw the fence man experienced inexplicable instances of time loss and sleepwalking. An invisible tether seemed to bind these children to the entity's sightings, leaving gaps in time that could not have been conjured by the limits of imagination alone. These chilling discoveries compounded an already growing anxiety, pushing the team to explore beyond rational confines of reasoning. The threads connecting the man behind the fence to the consciousness of these children were ominously frayed but undeniable. In their final investigation, the team uncovered a forgotten burial ground beneath the neighborhood's foundational layers. Amidst the roots of towering oaks, remnants of archaic, disturbed graves reflected a history long buried beneath suburban expansion. Haunting artifacts and fragmented bones spoke of unresolved rest, tying the spectral sightings of the fence man with the disturbed energy of ancient souls. Anxiety turned to urgency. They understood that this final resting place needed reconciliation if the sightings were ever to cease. The team rallied the community to confront their shared heritage, blending modern rituals with ancient customs in a symbolic act designed to soothe both the spirits and soul of the neighborhood. An overnight vigil was held, marked by whispered incantations and sincere offerings, their heartfelt gestures bridging the age-old chasm between the living and the spectral. As dawn broke over the horizon, the air grew lighter, the oppressive weight of the interacting realms lifting. A hopeful silence followed, filled with renewed promise and the scent of redemption. The fence man was never sighted again, his presence dissolved like gossamer in a morning sun. The neighborhood cautiously reclaimed their routines, basking in the restored normalcy that slowly took root. The past year had left deep imprints on their psyche, however, haunting lessons on perception, reality, and the significance of reconciliation with the unknown. The investigators, enriched by the ordeal, documented their findings with care, choosing their words as one would with an ancient language that sought neither vengeance nor closure, only understanding.